There's a certain kind of pain that doesn't just sting, it circles back again and again. You think it's over, that you've moved on, that you've finally healed, but one small trigger, a conversation, a glance, a thought, and suddenly you're right back in it. The wound is open again, and you're left asking yourself, why does this keep happening? Maybe it's the same type of relationship that always ends the same way. Maybe it's the same argument resurfacing with different faces. Or maybe it's internal. The same self-doubt creeping back in, just when you were starting to believe in yourself. Whatever it is, it doesn't just hurt. Once it loops, it repeats, it haunts. And deep down you know, something's off, because this doesn't feel like bad luck, it feels like a pattern. But here's the truth. No one tells you. Repetitive pain isn't random. It's a message, a mirror, a cycle. Your soul is begging you to break. Most people live their entire lives trapped in these loops without ever realizing it. They think, I just attract the wrong people, or nothing ever works out for me. But the pattern isn't punishment. It's a reflection of an old belief you haven't questioned, of a story you keep telling yourself, of a lesson you haven't fully learned. And until you confront it directly, life will keep handing you the same pain wrapped in different packaging. So, let's go deeper. Ask yourself this: what is the core emotion you return to again and again? Is it abandonment, rejection, betrayal? Not feeling enough? That recurring emotion is your cycle's heartbeat. It's the emotional frequency that draws similar experiences back into your life. Not because you deserve them, but because somewhere inside you expect them. You've unknowingly made space for them. Think about it. If you grew up feeling overlooked, your nervous system might feel safe in being invisible, even when you consciously crave attention and love. If you were taught that love must be earned, you might keep choosing people who make you prove your worth, who withhold affection just enough to keep you chasing. If you were made to believe you're not good enough unless you're perfect, you might never feel peace even in moments of success. Your brain doesn't crave happiness. It craves familiarity. And familiarity often means returning to pain you never processed. That's the trap of emotional repetition. The mind becomes addicted to patterns. It knows even if those patterns are hurting you. But recognizing the loop is only step one. The real breakthrough happens when you trace it back to its source. Where did you first learn this pattern? Who taught you that you had to beg for love? That you had to be small to be safe? That your feelings weren't valid unless someone else confirmed them? Unpacking that origin moment is painful. But it's also where you take your power back. Because the moment you see the story behind the cycle, you stop playing the role you were given and start writing your own script. But here's where it gets complicated. Your cycle doesn't only live in your thoughts. It lives in your body, your nervous system, your reactions. That's why it feels automatic. That's why you panic when someone pulls away. Why you shut down when conflict arises. Why you sabotage things that are actually good for you. Because your body is reliving the trauma in real time, even when the danger is long gone. So healing isn't just about thinking positively. It's about rewiring your responses. It's about noticing the moment you want to shut down, and choosing to stay open the moment you want to lash out, and choosing to pause the moment you want to run, and asking yourself, am I reacting to now or to something then? And let's be honest, it's not easy. Breaking the cycle means going against every survival instinct your mind has rehearsed for years. It means being uncomfortable, vulnerable, exposed. It means feeling the pain fully, instead of numbing it, avoiding it, or blaming others for it. But the pain you feel is the pain you free. So how do you actually start? You start by noticing patterns live in repetition. So take inventory. What emotions repeat? What dynamics repeat? Who triggers you the most? And why is it really them? Or is it what they represent? Maybe it's the same lack of validation you felt from a parent. Maybe it's the same conditional love, the same feeling of not being chosen. Once you see the thread, you can begin to pull it, and everything starts to unravel. Next, challenge your emotional autopilot when someone withdraws, and your immediate reaction is to cling or collapse. Pause, ask yourself, what belief is this reaction? Protecting that'll be left again. That I'm not enough on my own. That I have to fight for love to receive it. Those beliefs, they're not truths. They're trauma responses. You don't have to keep honoring them. Now let's go deeper. One of the most dangerous parts of emotional cycles is the identity we form around them. We don't just experience the pain, we become. We start saying things like, I'm just the kind of person who gets walked on, or I always ruin relationships, or people just don't stick around for me. These statements might sound harmless, but they're reinforcing the cage. The more you identify with the wound, the harder it becomes to break free from it. So instead of defining yourself by your pain, start defining yourself by your healing. I'm the kind of person who notices my triggers. I'm learning to respond differently. I'm worthy of love that doesn't hurt. It might not feel true yet, but say it anyway. Because the only way to shift your reality is to shift the story you tell yourself, and don't underestimate the role of self-forgiveness. In all of this, sometimes we're not just stuck in a cycle, we're ashamed of being stuck. We beat ourselves up for going back to someone toxic, for not speaking up, for losing ourselves again. But shame is fuel for repetition. The more you punish yourself for the past, the more likely you are to repeat it, because deep down you start to believe you deserve the pain. Forgiveness isn't letting yourself off the hook. It's letting yourself out of the loop. It's saying, I didn't know better then, but I do now. And I choose differently. You break the cycle by becoming someone new. Not because the past didn't matter, but because you finally do. And here's a truth that might sting. If you don't face the pattern, you will pass it on. Whether it's to your partner, your children, your friends. Emotional repetition doesn't stay self-contained. It spills into everything you touch. But so does healing when you do the work. When you start to question the loop. When you stop reacting from pain and start responding from presence. Everything changes. You stop attracting people who match your wounds. You stop creating chaos just to feel alive. You start choosing peace even when it's unfamiliar. And peace, when you've lived in survival, feels like rebellion. So if you're stuck in a cycle right now, let this be your sign. It's not a flaw. It's a flag, a signal that something deeper needs your attention. And not just attention, compassion. You don't break patterns with willpower alone. You break them with tenderness, with curiosity, with the bravery to sit in your discomfort and say, I'm ready to learn what this pain is trying to teach me, because every cycle has a lesson. And once you learn it, it loses its grip. You are not your past. You are not your patterns. You are not the loop you were taught to live in. You are the awareness behind all of it, and that awareness, it's the beginning of everything new. So the next time the same pain shows up, don't just react. Reflect, ask yourself, what is this trying to show me? And instead of running, meet it fully, softly, willingly, because the only way out of the cycle is through it. If you've made it this far, then maybe something in this hit a little too close. Maybe you've recognized a loop in your own life, a pattern you've kept reliving, wondering when it will finally end. And if that's you, I want you to hear this. You're not broken. You're awakening. These repetitive cycles aren't signs of failure. They're invitations. They're the way your soul tries to get your attention when the surface no longer reflects the truth of who you are inside. And the fact that you're becoming aware of it, that you're choosing to listen instead of numb, that you're ready to reflect instead of repeat, that alone is a powerful kind of rebellion. Because most people live their entire lives asleep at the wheel, reacting, blaming, spiraling, never once stopping to ask, why does this keep happening? But you did. And that matters. The journey ahead won't always be easy. Growth never is. You'll have moments where you fall back into old habits, days where you doubt your progress. People who try to pull you into old roles you've outgrown, but don't let that shake you. Cycles don't break in one dramatic moment. They unravel slowly, one conscious choice at a time. And every time you pause, reflect, breathe, choose differently, that's a win. That's you becoming someone new, someone free. So don't rush the healing. Let it move at the pace your soul can handle. Give yourself the grace to be messy, the space to feel deeply, and the strength to keep showing up for you. That's what breaking the cycle really looks like. Not perfection, but presence. If this spoke to you, if you felt seen in any of it, consider subscribing, because this space isn't just about ideas, it's about transformation. It's about reminding you again and again that your story isn't over, that change is possible, that your patterns don't define you. Your courage does, and share this with someone who might be stuck in their own loop. Sometimes the first step to healing is simply realizing you're not alone. You are not your past. You are the author of what comes next. So keep going, keep reflecting, and above all, keep choosing yourself one brave decision at a time.